And we're live. So welcome to the third edition of the African Film Festival Atlanta. My name is Mojisola Shinoiki and I'm the festival director. This will be our first in-person stroke hybrid festival since COVID, so we're happy to be here. The African Film Festival Atlanta is powered by the African Film and Arts Foundation, which is a non-profit 501c3 media arts organization based in Atlanta, Georgia, that aims to be a conduit for changing the imagery and narrative of Africans and people of African descent through the lens of arts and culture. So today we're speaking to some of our filmmakers whose films were screened virtually. And I'm going to get the filmmaker that's online now to introduce himself and tell us where he's zooming in from. And didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you that someone just came in? He's going to introduce himself, where he's zooming in from, the name of his film, and he will tell us a little bit about his film. So over to you. Hi, Robert.
Thank you so much. First, I'll just like to say thanks you for having me, and thanks to African Film Festival Atlanta for selecting my film to be a part of this hybrid event. Really, really appreciate it. My name is Edmund Boateng, originally from Ghana, but currently living in Columbus, Ohio, and that is where I'm on the Zoom from right now. And today we're going to be talking about a short film that I did back in 2021 when I went back home. It's called Fatima, and I'll get into it and give you a little backstory of how Fatima came about. So I have been—
Wait, hold on. Can I just stop you a minute?
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit about the film and then we will come back to the details of how it came about. Just tell us, what is the film about? It's called Fatima.
Right.
And it's about—
So Fatima is about a girl who had to run away from home due to child marriage, trying to escape child marriage, run away from home to be on the street to live her own life instead of living the life that, her family wants her to live.
Okay. All right. So I see Robert. Is it possible to put on your camera and somebody else that just came in?
1 second.
Okay. Ah, very good. Hi, so you just came right on time. Hello.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, hold on, let me take a picture. I took some pictures. All right, so I see Seb and Robert Peter. So SEB, is that?
Yeah.
What's your full name?
Sebastian.
Oh, Sebastian. So Sebastian, I was telling everyone, if you could introduce yourself, tell us where you're zooming in from, the name of your film, and just a little synopsis of the film, and then we'll come back to details.
Okay. My name is Sebastian Tohouri. I'm zooming in from Greater London on the southeast side.
Okay.
My film is Locs. I co-wrote and then directed it. I was also the producer. And it's about a hairdresser who locks her lover's hair for the last time.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, and then Robert, a little intro from you. Your name, where you're zooming in from the car.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, yo. My name is Robert Peters. I'm an African filmmaker out of Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry, I'm going to an event, so my plan was to do this and drive into that event. It was something that had been planned before now, so there was no way I could cancel it. So my name is Robert Peters. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you.
Tell us the name of your film and just a little synopsis.
Okay.
Of the film.
Yeah, the name of my film is Face to Face. It's my father used to tell me back in the days that sometimes in order for you to be able to assess your life, you need to learn to have an out of body experience. And that stayed with me for a while. And one day I decided to make a story around it. So it's just you meeting you 7 years from now, and you guys riding in an Uber together and just having a conversation with yourself. And that's what my story is about. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So going back to you, Edmund. So now you can tell us how the story came about. I must say, I like the way you told the story, because when you watch it, you get the impression that it's a documentary, but then it's more of a docudrama. So it's a drama done in kind of like a documentary-ish style. So I thought that was quite clever. So tell us a bit about how the story came about and why you chose that topic, actually.
Right. So I've lived in 3 different continents. So I've lived in Africa, that's where I grew up. And then I lived in Dubai, and then now living in the United States. And when you have the opportunity to live in different places, it kind of gives you a different perspective on life, experiences, and just the way other people live their life. And sometimes it helps you to look back to how you grew up, and sometimes you question it a little bit. You have some questions, and you start to see things that you thought was normal being abnormal. So when I moved here to the United States, back in 2020, I had a whole a moment where it kind of
epiphany. An epiphany?
Yes, where I was reflecting on specifically my mother, because I live here basically by myself. I don't have any close family living here with me. They live in different states and different countries, and then my immediate family live back home in Ghana. So when 2020 happened, it was just a moment of realizing how much I'm missing family and how much I feel excluded from everybody else. And then my mind took me to the last time I saw my mother, which was when she was seeing me off at the airport back in 2017. And so I just started thinking about everything that she's done to that point to raise us. And so when I did a show, a gallery show back in 2021. And then after the show, I was about to go home, but personally, I was going through some personal stuff, with marriage and life in general. So I just needed to go home. I wanted to be home. I wanted to be with family. I just needed that family love and bond. So after that, I went back home, and then being back home and just being back on the streets where I grew up and seeing the things that I used to see, connecting it with how life is here in the Western world. I just start to realize that my mother specifically, she had to go through all these stuff to raise us, which is like being on the street and doing street hawking. Growing up, my mother didn't go to school. She got out at a very younger age because she said, one, she didn't have the support to, and then two, because she doesn't have the support, going to school, your mind is not, prepared to learn anything. So you'll be performing very bad at school. So that pushed her to just turn into just trading and working for herself. So that kind of gave me the perspective that it's not just my mother that is going through this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of girls that have to go through the same. And luckily for her, she lived with family while doing that. But there's also a lot of girls that don't have family. And I will come back to how the story of Fatima came is. The girls don't have family, and some of them mostly have to travel from the northern part of Ghana to the south because they figured the south has it all. When you come to the south, living in Kumasi or Accra, it's very easy to find jobs. It's very easy to make it instead of being in the north where there isn't that much city life. So most girls that come, when they do come, because again, they don't have any family, they tend to be on the street. some of them will be lucky to find people that would give them the items and materials to sell on the street to make ends meet. Some of them too don't. And whilst on the street, a lot of things happen.
Okay.
Some of them are molested. Some of them, if you're not lucky, raped and kidnapped, and all sort of bad things that happen. So it really hit me just thinking about all of these stuff. And as a filmmaker, as a photographer, I'm like, how can I let people know that this is going on and this is wrong? And even though as an individual, basically I cannot do much, but I can use the little talent and skills that I have to share some light on it. And so in the northern part, there is this. I don't want to.
Can I stop you right there for a minute?
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you, but let's give one of the other filmmakers an opportunity to talk about how their film came about, and then I can come back to you to ask you more detailed questions about your film. So Robert, face to face, can you kind of alluded to the fact of how it did come about, but can you give us a bit more details how you got the, because I see the lead is a renowned Nollywood actor. Is it Kenneth Okoli, correct?
Yeah, Kenneth Okoli, yeah.
Yeah, so how did the script come about? I know the writer was supposed to be on here. I was going to ask him more questions about the writing aspect, but how did you get Kenneth involved? And how did the full story come to fruition?
First thing first, let me brag a little bit. I am blessed to have done some things that make people trust me a little bit more. So I am blessed in my space to have most of the actors wanting to work on my project. Okay. So that's a blessing. It's a blessing, and it's as a result of God's blessing and some hard work that I've put into the industry. So I had an option to get any actor I wanted to get on that project. You understand? But I've been wanting to work with with Kenneth for a while. Okay. And it was a good opportunity. And from my assessment so far, I think he gave a very good account of himself. I think he did. Yeah. Then the story, I never wanted it to be a feature. I wanted it to be a short film.
Oh.
So when the story came to me some years ago, I wrote it down. I'm not a too good writer. I don't feel comfortable writing, but I am blessed to be able to conceive stories. So when I conceive story, I have so many writing partners that I just do a voice recording, and we take time to develop. You understand? I did a course on writing, and the only reason I did the course on writing was because I just wanted to be useful to the process. So I am blessed to have collaborated with the writer, who is a great guy, who in my opinion is a great writer. And this is the very first script. Face to Face was the first script he was writing.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He had wrote a treatment for me that I saw that I like. I said, man, you should be writing. And I encouraged him, and we developed the story together. Yeah. So it was supposed to be a conversation in transit. No, a conversation with myself. That was my original title. Short film, 15 minutes. And this pastor, my producing partner, I think is here, Dr. Jeff Innocent, said that no, we can make this a feature. I said, okay, let's go develop it into a feature. If we can sustain 1 hour, 30 minutes, I'll shoot it. And they did, and I liked it. And so far, so good. We're close to a very good deal with a major platform.
Okay, we will come to that. Sebastian, are you still there? Hello. Last but not the least, if you can tell us how, I used to live in London actually, on the south side in Streatham. So hey, hey London. Yeah, tell us how the film came about. So what's your role? Are you the director?
Co-writer and director.
Yeah. Director or co-director?
Just director.
Oh, director.
So,
Okay. Okay. So tell us how it all came about. You know, how you got the crew and how the story came about. Is it based on a true story, made up?
so the two characters in Locs are based on people that I know from my own backstory. But the idea for the film came about when I was in Peckham and I was getting my hair locked, and I'd had like a really bad day, and the hairdresser was just doing my hair, and then just the two words love and locs kind of just merged together, and that was the seed of the idea for the film. And then for like 4 or 5 months, I was trying to write it. I was like, what could the story be? And then the co-writer, she ended up coming on to the project later on, but she said just keep it all in one location, keep it all in a hair shop, and just run with it. And then I did the first draft and I showed her, and she liked it. And then we just kept on redrafting, and that kind of built the momentum. And then when it came to like finding the crew, it was really just laying the tracks while the train's running, because I didn't know anyone to make the film. I didn't know the actors or the actor and the actress. But I met them at like networking events. So I was very proactive in just going to as many networking events as possible and kind of like talent scouting. And yeah, I just set a deadline and I said, we're going to make the film on these 2 days. And then we just all turned up and made it. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. All right. So I'm going to ask each of you a few more questions. Going back to you, Edmund. So you were telling us how the film came about. So why did you kind of use that style of telling the story? Because it was kind of like a documentary style. Why did you choose that style to tell this particular story?
I just wanted it to feel more real. I wanted you to feel like, it's, even though the Fatima character in the movie, in the film, is fictional, but I wanted, it's also something real that is happening. It's not a made up story. It's something that is happening, something that is, and potentially maybe this film will help people to get to know it and do something about it. So I wanted people to have that feel. And in Ghana, when you are there, the energy, the cars on the street, the people, the street hawking, everything, it's so, there's a lot going on, and
a lot of drama.
Right. So sometimes if you're not used to that environment, it can be overwhelming. And sometimes, because of, even for me, it has to be a self-realization of, there's too much noise going on. So how do I take myself out of it and look at it from a different perspective? So when I went back home in 2021, I had already reached out to a few friends and told them about the project and what I wanted to do. And they helped me bring the people together. So the main character who played Fatima, and then two of the characters that were in there, and then my friend who DP'd on the film. So we all came together, and then I told them the story and what I'm trying to do, and they were very supportive of it. And so we put together Fatima. And like I was saying before, in the northern part of Ghana, even I'll say across Ghana, but mostly we hear the story much coming from the northern part of Ghana, where some childs are forced into going into early marriages. And sometimes not all of them are okay with it, and sometimes they don't have anything to do about it. And even though I'm not the first person that has done a story about it, I'm not the first person that is trying to share light on it. Other people have done it, and so I wanted to also put my spin on it in connection with, right, in connection with how my mother also was raised, and how she also at some point, even though she didn't have to run away because of child marriage, but she was still on the street. And I could only imagine the things that she went through that, maybe she never told us or would never tell us because of, how she would feel about it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that story to let people have the feel that it's not just a fictional, a come-up
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
something that's going on. And I'm glad that we were able to make it feel that way. Actually, you are the first person that is kind of telling me that that's how you felt, like that it was a good way of telling the story. So I'm glad that it really turned out that way.
Okay. All right. So Sebastian, I'm going to go to challenges now. You know, every film comes with its challenges, and they're also like memorable moments of whilst you were making the film. So give us challenges, give us memorable moments, because it'd be nice to see like the side by side of that.
Yeah. I would say the biggest challenge, like during making the film, was, well, there were personal challenges and then like crew challenges.
The personal challenge, okay.
Personal challenges, I was like very inexperienced as a director, and I didn't really know really how to communicate with trained actors, and so that was really like a massive learning curve in the process. But like crew challenges, it was actually making the film in the time that we had. We only had like 2 nights to film it because like everything in London is so expensive, and even rent is like so expensive. So really we needed 3 nights to film the film, but we only had 2, and that put everyone under a lot of pressure to kind of do their best and try and make it as perfect as possible, but also get the project completed on time as well. So yeah, I would say that was the biggest challenge.
Memorable moments?
Ooh, I think,
Or a memorable moment?
I think there was a crazy memorable moment. So there was a woman that lived like underneath the hair salon, and we were keeping her up all night, and she came up and she was like, because she had the power switch to the whole shop downstairs. She was like, we're gonna turn the power off. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, we had to send like someone to go down and speak to her and cool her down, and eventually she let us keep on filming. So yeah.
Did you show her the film?
I showed her, yeah, we took the camera downstairs and I was just showing her parts of the film, and her children were like really excited about it, and I was like, yeah.
You should show her. You should show her the finished product.
I invited her to the premiere, but she couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. All right. So, Mr. Peters, as an experienced filmmaker, I'm sure every film you make, you know, comes with its own different challenges and memorable moments. So, this film was shot. Where was the face-to-face shot? First of all, was it shot in Atlanta?
It was shot in Atlanta. It was actually shot in Suwanee, Georgia. Yeah, I had $50,000 budget and 10 days to make the picture. So I am blessed to have a crew that I work with. So it was easy for me to call my boys and say, "Hey boys, let's come and go." And I own most of my equipment. I have a 5-ton production truck. So we just rolled it out and we made the film. So the challenge is, I wish we had a little bit more money.
Isn't that always the
take
case?
Take our time to shoot some scenes better and add some more production value. I would have loved to have an art director to just help put everything together and just to make some things more powerful and more global. Because presently you need to make all your frames global for you to get a serious distribution. So that was my only challenge. Then I had 10 days to shoot it. So I wish I had a little bit more time to reduce the amount of pages I shot per day. I think we shot 8 to 10 pages per day, but normally I'd love to shoot maybe 4 to 5 pages per day so that I can take my time to get all my shots in and get some good creativity in, because those takes time. Yeah.
Any memorable moments you can remember?
Yeah, it was a particular scene I shot between Donald and my lead female. And the chemistry was so strong that I told everybody on set, I said, if this is the film, we've done well. You understand? So we shot that beautiful scene that we didn't rehearse. It was intense, and I didn't want them to waste their energy rehearsing. So I just gave them their play area. We discussed it, and they put all the energy into us filming it. And we're able to get it in 3 takes. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. So I see we have another guest, Michael McLendon.
Yes, our short One and Done played at the festival. I apologize for joining at this hour. I know you already started, but I'm excited to be here and sorry what I've missed out on. Looking forward to hearing more from the filmmakers, if it's not over already, almost. But thanks for playing our film at the festival.
Okay, so since we're on you, what I've asked everyone to do is introduce themselves, tell us the name of your film, where you're zooming in from, and a little bit about the film.
Sure. My name is Michael McLendon. I'm zooming in from Nashville, Tennessee. Our film One and Done is a short romantic comedy about a guy who is one and done in the sense that he can't get a second date, and his sister challenges him to do it. And he has a terrible day, but he ultimately, hopefully, gets a second date by the end of the film.
Okay. So we've actually gone round and asked, one of the questions I asked were the challenges. First of all, how did this story come about? You're the director, right? Or is it your story?
I'm the writer and producer. So I was able to bring on a good friend, Ken Dacey. I'm nearer to direct, and Renard Hirsch is the main actor. It's not 100% my story, but I've had a lot of dates that didn't go well, and so I kind of mixed them all into one, and then hired a good comedy friend who I've been wanting to collaborate with to play the role. So I was pleased with what they did. I only paid everybody, and I wrote the script, and I secured some locations because we needed a restaurant. But I like what we came out with, and I hope the people who saw it enjoyed it because I was pleased with what we found.
Yes, it was very funny. It was very well done. So we also asked challenges that you had, and a memorable moment or some memorable moments.
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge for us was that Renard, our main character, he's been gaining traction as a comedian. So he was traveling quite a bit. So just making sure that we were able to work everybody else's schedule around his, because he's such a nice guy and he's friendly and he's funny, but he's been starting to do a lot more outside of the city and around the nation, really. So making sure we could reschedule, because sometimes it'd be something really big that he had to do that he could not do because it's about his career as a comedian. And so that was one of the challenges. Memorable for me was just working or securing, because again, I wasn't on set all of the time as the writer. I wanted to give them the creative fluidity and flexibility to do what they loved. Once we said, hey, this is the team, I just gave some boundaries, because as a Christian, there's a lot of stuff I don't want, like a lot of cussing and that kind of thing. And so that as long as they didn't do that, I was like, Renard, give it to me one way, the way it's written, and then go where you want to go with it. And I was very pleased with him. The memorable thing for me is just securing this location, because I went and bought some chicken and was trying to meet with the lady and just trying to be the best customer I could be to bring in this location. And so ultimately they let us use it. The place was called Slow Burn. And then just seeing how it all turned out. Also how Justin Woolen, the cinematographer and editor, how he pulled off the car scenes, because of course they were in our movie, they were parked. And he just did things with the lights and the camera to have it shaking. And I thought he sold it pretty well for the most part, that people were actually driving when they were just sitting still.
Okay, very nice. So we have like 10 more minutes. One of the questions I like to ask as well is, what you're currently working on or what you plan on working on. So let's, I know, Robert, you're driving and you may need to get off before everybody else. So if you can just tell us, what are you next big projects coming up, or what you're working on and what's going on? And what are you going to do with face-to-face? I know you mentioned you had something in the works.
Face-to-face is with Netflix and Amazon. So
it Amazon, is now?
No. As in for review in consideration for acquisition.
Oh, very
And yeah, we got some good letters yesterday. They told us things they liked about it. And
very good.
and yeah, we're hoping that anytime soon we'll go into QC. So and they told us some things they didn't like about it. So
Okay.
yeah, I think very soon we'll go into QC. It's looking more like Amazon, but I'm hoping we can do Netflix.
Okay. Actually, now that you're talking about, oh, sorry, go ahead. I thought you had finished. Go ahead.
Yeah, then on Wednesday, I am off to Namibia to go shoot a film. It's a Pan-African story. So we're going to have actors from different parts. We have actors from different parts of Africa who've been rehearsing already, and I'm so excited about it. We're shooting in a place called Skeleton Coast. You can Google. It's a very dingy but beautiful location.
Skeleton Coast in Namibia?
Yeah, in Namibia. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So you're not going to tell us anything about this Pan-African film?
It's a horror film. No, it's not a horror film. It's a thriller that is told out of sync. It's a 3-story day movie. I just love the dynamics of the movie, the way the story was told out of sync, and the manipulation of the expectation of the audience. You understand? Something
Okay.
similar like what Alfred Hitchcock would do. You understand? Create a little bit of red hair in the air. The story that is going to juggle your emotion and your expectation and your colloquialism of the knowledge of film a little bit. Yeah, I'm very happy with the writing. I'm excited going into it.
All right, keep us posted. Edmund, do you have anything coming up? Projects, any other projects?
Yeah, so whilst making the film, I also created some body of work kind of around the same subject, and also photographing family and people from home. And I had a gallery show that ended 2 months ago. So now I'm trying to put all of the images together into a book. So that is what I'm currently working on, as well as the next film that I want to shoot next year.
And what's the film about?
So this film is about a couple that the guy had to do certain things that he wouldn't do to provide for his family.
Okay.
And it's a little bit of personal experience that I'm put it into like fictional to create that story.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oops. You just went all around and upside down. I was like, oh. Sebastian from London. Next things, next projects.
My next project, the plan is for it to be a horror film, like a short horror film that kind of reflects the times that we're living in London at the moment. It seems quite crazy over here.
Can't be crazier than America, please. It cannot be.
Is it quite crazy in Atlanta?
It's crazy in the United States of America.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. But anyway, go ahead. But whatever goes on here, you have like the microcosm of it in the UK, kind of. That's how I feel, having lived in both places. So when something happens here, then it will kind of happen in England, but on a small scale. So here it's shooting. England is stabbing.
Right.
You know, so, but go ahead.
This short horror is about a live-in carer who kind of buries her past trauma in her clients' homes. And then there's like this monster that is gonna appear, and she has to kind of face it and change, or if she doesn't, then be consumed by it. And I would love to work with the same actress that I did in Locs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's what's in the works at the moment.
Okay. Horror short or feature? Did you say that?
Short film.
Short film. Okay. All right. So keep us posted. And last but not the least, Michael.
So I've been doing a lot of writing, really starting to write features. And the one I'm excited about is about this pastor from St. Louis who gets lured down to Mississippi, which is where I'm from, to meet family, he thinks, but it's really some people trying to get him to participate in a horrifying Southern ritual that's dealing with racism. My father's from Shibuya. My father, who's deceased now, he was born and reared in Shibuya. Our house was the closest to this bridge they call the Hanging Bridge, where we didn't know that's what it was called hanging for, but there were a lot of lynchings there. And so I want to write about that, but I have it in a kind of thriller, horror kind of film. So I'm pitching that, and hopefully we'll be shooting that sometime in the next couple of years.
Okay. All right. It all sounds wonderful. I see Edmund and Robert have gone off camera. But let me see if there are any questions. Okay, no questions from the audience. So one last thing, since we just have like 5 minutes, I like to ask this question just because, just for motivational purposes, and anybody can answer this. What kind of advice would you give to upcoming filmmakers? Let's start with Robert, because I know he's got around. Robert, and I guess you're the most seasoned filmmaker. Yeah, what kind of advice would you give upcoming filmmakers, especially filmmakers, of color, who, we have a different layer of challenges?
I am not the most seasoned. Understand that films are never meant to be finished. On this
platform where we are right now, Mr. He's always trying to downplay what he's done. Yeah. Robert, please.
So on this, one thing I've come to understand, films are never meant to be finished. Films are meant to be abandoned. So put in your best and know when to let a film go sometimes. And secondly, try not to make the same mistake twice, keep growing. Understand that what you're doing is very intricate, it's very sensitive, and it's very tough. You're trying to recreate life scenarios, and understand that you're going to always make mistakes, and you're going to always learn for the rest of your life. So never get complacent, never get too cocky, never feel yourself too much, because there's still more to be conquered. And tell every story you pick with authenticity. Put everything into it. You understand? Copy other people's style and don't copy other people's style. You understand?
Like, say that again. Copy
other people's style and don't copy other people's style. So copy their style and let your style begin to emerge from copy. Because at the end of the day, what will make you stand the test of time is when you have a style. When they watch your film and they say, wow, this is a Robert Peters film. You understand? So begin to know your area of strength, pick your stories, define your audience, and be prepared for every job. Take time out to prepare. There's so many resources on YouTube. You can learn a lot, because it is better for you not to have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for it. Thank you.
Reach on, Mr. Peters. And I see your writer just turned up. Mr. Jeff Innocent, latecomer, you shall be fined.
That's producer, executive producer.
Oh, I thought he was the writer. Hi, can you hear us?
No,
Mr.
writer is editor. It's producer, executive producer. That's actually the man that made it happen. He pushed all of us into making it happen. So he gets the credit.
And we're going to fine you for coming on late. So
I got the notification, but then I got carried away with something else, and then I'm glad Robert just reminded me. I said, Jesus help me. I'm supposed to be here.
Okay, that's okay. So we're wrapping up now. So if you could just introduce yourself, tell us how you were involved with the film Face to Face, and then how you got involved, just quickly before we wrap up. And then I will go to the other folks.
By the way, my name is Dr. Jeff Innocent. producer, and phase that I think I stumbled on it because when Robert and I were having that conversation, there was a story that Robert told, and that story happens to be about himself, and he wrote that story. It was supposed to be a short story conversation with myself. How one conversation with himself. By the way, most times in your life, you have to maybe jump out of yourself and have a conversation with yourself, especially if you want to do a little bit of evaluation of your progress and all of that. So when we're having a conversation in my office, and he brought that story up to say, talked about this conversation, man, something sparked in my spirit that said, this is not just going to be a short story. We are going to make it into a feature length, because there's so many things that I've seen in that particular short story about having a conversation with yourself. And now when we begin to look at that story, there's so much message that I think we can let out, not just having a conversation with yourself. And then as time goes on, I began to see so many other aspects and how this relates to me as a person, at least as an immigrant in the United States, and how many thousands of immigrants that could as well relate to that story. That's, of course, the excitement about life is the uncertainty of life. So many times we wish that we have an idea of where we are going and what it looks like where we're going. It could probably help us to prepare better and know what kind of outfit and all of that. So imagine coming to America, you have no idea that you're coming to America in January. There's a lot of cold, windy, and nobody told you. You will walk in. You walk into the flight with a t-shirt, but then when you land, then you understand. So, so going into that's the things that I then looked at. Not looking at where you are and looking at where you intend to be in the next 5, in the next 10, in the next 15 years. Many of us come to America. For those of us who came from somewhere, we all came to America with this love to dream, like, when I get here in 5 years, and I should be this, or to be that, or be that. But when you get here, you are hit with the reality.
Sets in.
And so exactly when I saw that story, I saw different angles and different perspectives that we can tell the story of an immigrant guy who, came in here with a love to dream, like most of us did, and then, had an encounter with his future self, and now you're looking at your present person and your future person. And I asked, what kind of conversation will I have with Jeff of 2055 if I meet him tomorrow morning? What conversation should I be having with him? What give rise to the script, and then we were able to come up with the kind of conversation we think, we should one can have with his future, and I'm telling you, it's been an amazing journey. And then knowing that I'm working with a legendary like Robert Peters gave me all of the confidence that we can actually make it work, and it worth every cent, and dollar that was involved in it. It worth it. Like I'm so excited about the project, and I'm looking forward to many lives that could glean from that story and the inspiration that is behind that story. So with that kind of story and that kind of inspiration that came out of that face-to-face, and by the way, that's where the name actually came from, having a face-to-face conversation or coming future, your present, having an encounter with your future. For those of you who are familiar with the Bible, maybe you will remember when Jacob came face to face with Israel. Israel happened to be his future, and he, all of that. So that kind of project trust me, I was willing to go any length to get it done. And I was on everybody's neck, and I was on everybody's back, and I was on everybody's waist, and I was everywhere. Like, we need to get whatever it takes to get it out. But we, by the grace of God, we were able to, hey, listen, Robert Peters is an asset to the African movie industry. We can thank God enough for such telling you, working with him, man, I just, he doesn't need, sometimes I ask myself, does this guy really know what he wants? Because so creative. Like, there are times like we are hitting the roadblock. Where do we go from here? We are hitched. Where do we go? And that guy was said, you know what, Dr. Jeff, let's wrap it up for the day. Let's go home. Let's come back in the morning. And when we get back in the morning, it's been an incredible, journey. And trust me, we have many, many more to do. So in a nutshell, that's what it is.
Okay, thank you. So quick wrap up, Seb, inspirational words you can give to filmmakers, because filmmaking is a collaborative effort. It's not something you can do by yourself. And it's extremely challenging. It's not for the faint-hearted at all. So what kind of inspiration can you give to upcoming filmmakers? And quick, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like every other endeavor in life.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, I was asking Seb. I'll come back to you, Dr. Innocent, last.
Oh.
I was asking Sebastian, Edmund, okay, Michael, and then you can wrap up at the end.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
My advice would be to just focus on what you can do. Like, if you don't have, say you don't have much money, and you want to make a short film, for example, like, everyone has some paper and a pen, so you can write a script. And I would say just really focus on the kind of story that you want to tell, and the concept and the themes that you're bringing to it as well. Because the more kind of powerful the story, what I've found is more people are willing to jump on board and take that risk with you, especially if you haven't proven yourself before as a collaborator. So yeah, make sure that the material that you're filming, because you're also you're going to be spending a lot of money and a lot of your time, like pre-production, production, post-production. Could be 6 months, could be a year. So you just want to make sure that that's a good investment of your time, and that you're telling the right story for you at that time as well. Yeah.
Okay, Edmund, words of inspiration for upcoming filmmakers?
I would say, and more to myself as well, is a lot of people have ideas, and sometimes we get into our head of all the things that we could and can do, but the advice that I would give is you can only achieve all the things that you want to if you really start it. So no matter the challenges that you think you could get into, looking at the bigger picture, just starting it, even if it's the writing, even if it's like picking the sound and the location, you just start it. And if you don't have people that are around you that is going to motivate you to do it, just starting is a way of motivating yourself. And then also doing that and other people seeing that even though you don't have the crew, you are starting something small can bring people together to help you with whatever vision that you have.
Okay, very nice, thank you. And Michael?
I would say, as a writer, one, studying structure and watching a lot of films to see what a film should encompass, how it should be laid out. Even though it's a creative process, there is a skeleton that helps it to have a completeness. And the other part is, like Edmund was saying, about collaborating and getting started, because I can live with an idea for a long time, but it's turning the key and getting started that makes everything come together, and not being afraid to work with other people to get it done. Because when I try to do something just me, the level of it is nothing compared to what it is when there's a team of creatives working collaboratively and everybody's enjoying it, having a productive, enjoyable, progressive time. and then seeing what that is, celebrating with the team is a lot better than celebrating the idea in your head. And not get-
That's right. Ideas are a dime a dozen. It's who can implement that. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Dr. Innocent, last but not the least, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me add to what everybody was saying. I mean, one of the things that I encourage, if you want to get, like any other thing in life, though, filmmaking, just like any other pursuit or dream you have, passion is the foundation. You know, make sure you're passionate about what you're doing, because the level of passion you have for a particular thing will determine how much you will put in, one, and then also determine how resilient you can be, because you may not get it the first time, may not even get it the second time, not even the third, but at some point you will, if you don't give up. You know, so passionate about it, I can make just somebody about it. Don't bother, don't just leave it, find something else. Just get passionate about it. And then with that level of passion, it's easy for you to persist and persevere. You know, knowing that it may not be an easy ride. Nothing comes easy anyway, you know, but you do it the first time, you fail, do it again, and keep doing it. You're passionate about it. You do the first film, it looks like nobody's seeing you, nobody knows what you did. You do the second one, one day, you know, man, a door will open. And when that door opens, man, you're getting into something big.
Comes flooding in.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to wrap up on that note. Thank you very much, everyone, you know, for taking the time out today. This is our final virtual Q&A. The festival wraps up tomorrow.